just accepting myself as as my own person instead of just relying on peers and like their words to comfort me. That's definitely something I had to overcome. Probably when I had my first breakup, and that's when I realized I couldn't just rely on everyone else. I also had to rely on me and to like get through my own problems. So that's definitely what woke me up and had that realization.
A rotten divorce was the biggest challenge I had to overcome because it was a rotten divorce, but then I met a lovely lady that helped me through it. So it was the typical, I was in the Navy, active duty Navy. I was stationed overseas, received a Dear John letter from the wife of my best, or my letter from the wife of my best friend, advising me that her husband and my wife had shacked up together in my house while I was deployed overseas. Had 2 kids involved, and it just got ugly from there.
There's definitely several. Flunking out of my major while I was in undergrad, that's definitely, if it's not at the top of my list, it's definitely up there. Basically being alone for my entire life up until recently, not being in relationships, not having too many friendships, those are some struggles I've definitely overcome. If I had to pick between the two, I'd probably pick flunking out of my major because that's what I wanted to do, and turns out that's not what was meant for me, so I had to change paths. So I'm in graduate school now, and I'm doing something completely different, and I love it. So I've definitely overcome that.
Probably just life in general, honestly, just life in general. Growing up and then just getting older and seeing how like the world just really is like a hard place to live in, really. Just growing up and seeing different things, other people, associate with other people, how they view things on life, and just trying to comprehend everything for like yourself and knowing what's right and what's good and how to portray different things in your own mind to someone else's. I'm just so level-headed. I just stay positive through everything. I think a lot of people really, if they go through something, they try and take it with them as a downfall and just keep bringing people down, bringing their stuff down, and just keep bringing it down. But for me, it's just if I go through something, I know the Lord got me to just overcome that and to stay positive. And if anybody else is going through something and they contact me about it, then I just use my powerfulness and my upkeeping self just to help them to stay positive through everything.
College was a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we had a hard.
Yeah, slugging. So trying to be an Air Force pilot and going through that whole program of first having to graduate Virginia Tech and doing some aerospace engineering is really a major that I didn't really want to do, but had to do it. Getting through that was pretty good. It was pretty hard. Finally got to there, and now I'm gonna have to get through the actual pilot training, so that's a pretty big one. There's always gonna be something in your way. There's always gonna be something that's hard to overcome, and you're always gonna be able to create another excuse that can get in the way, but you have to keep your eyes on something you want to achieve either in the future or just getting through one day at a time. And then once you get there, you have to be glad that you got there and then move forward and get to the next task.
Yeah, like that. Small things at a time. Like you can only take one day at a time. That's what I'm doing right now currently. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in this new job, I'm in the Navy. I'm in a spot where I'm not actively, it was like last year, I'm not actively working with people. I'm like behind the scenes, behind a computer, controlling all the logistics of it all, and I'm in charge of people still, but it's not how I work. I have to relearn how to lead and how to be an effective leader that doesn't just like, oh, take care of it, figure it out. I'm like, I'm here for you, but I have to stay here. I'm trying to help you as much as I can, but it's been a huge learning curve and a huge way for me to grow as a leader and to, I guess, overcome that whole, like, I don't want to do that because that's out of my realm. Learned how to do it, and I did it pretty well, I think, and I just overcame that. Yeah, I think it's helped me to analyze how else I can become a leader and open up not just what I know, but like to be able to know that I can learn something way out of my realm, like way out of my comfort zone. Like I'm doing this right now. I would never do this like a year ago. Probably succeed at it. Like I'm like I expect success instead of like I'm going in to expect failure.
Staying out of trouble. Yeah, it's always, I don't know, like a
magnet or something, you know. I always got in trouble. I got tired of it, you know, tired of paying the consequences. You know, you got to be held accountable, which I totally agree with. Oh, it's just there's more to life than getting in trouble. Got my driver's license back after 32 years, so that was a real good turning point there. Kind of got my freedom back, you know, I could drive again. And now I'm traveling, see my family.
I guess I'd go with moving. It was a lot of uncertainty, so I had no clue, but I just kind of went with it and hoped it worked out. If things would work out okay and I would have enough money and my car wouldn't break down at the worst moment and that type of thing. It was just last year.
Well, the biggest challenge I've overcome is I had a tumor on my pituitary gland that caused a lot of hormones to stop secreting. So that I'd say that's the biggest one I've overcome. The biggest one I'm in is moving away from home. Two completely different challenges. I was diagnosed my senior year of high school, so that would have been when I was 17. It causes like cortisol, right? Your fight or flight response. It eliminates that, or like also eliminates your thyroid hormone that does a lot of stuff with metabolism, various effects like that. So yeah, I just moved to Roanoke in August, and I've lived in Texas all my life. Hardest part is just the loneliness, being away from family, being away from friends, you know, that I've known all my life, and making new ones, making new friends, making new family.
Possibly having a kidney transplant about 12 or 13 years ago in Korea. It was very sudden. My sister came over to Korea and gave me one of hers. That probably also segues in a little bit into what happened with the changing chapters, just because it kind of wakes you up to a little bit to the need to live now instead of waiting for some indeterminate time in the future. I'm still here, not dead yet. That's about it.
I guess raising my 3 kids. I mean, it hasn't been a challenge, but that's been my focus in the last few years. But I think I did a good old job. They all seem well established, and they're all 3 good people. So I think that was my biggest challenge in life. I don't think I'd do anything differently. Mine was just always to teach them to be good people and do the right thing. And I never worried too much. I just kind of let things take its course and just set good example and teach them to do the right thing and be good people.
Well, it's kind of the same thing, raising our kids. I think for both of us, I think our kids are all really good. They've got good lives, and they've all, done really good with theirs, and no bad things happened. So I think we did a good job. Yeah.
Self-confidence in myself to do more things than I am able to do right now. I'm currently 20 right now, and the biggest challenge I faced right now was, do I want to go to college? What am I going to do after high school, like after graduation? Because most people, when they're doing graduation and stuff, they usually go to the proms, do a big graduation party. I didn't do none of that. That was the biggest step that I had to take as a person. So I decided, you know what? Take the college route, see where it goes, and then if you make it, you make it.
Being stronger than I thought I was, being able to do things on my own that I didn't think I could do. Do things like buy a house on my own, leave a job I've been at for a long time and seek another one. There's days that you don't feel like you're strong enough, and I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and He gives me strength to be able to do it that day and the next day and the next day.
It was a really bad breakup that I went through. It was so messy and everything, and dealing with an insane person who's mentally ill is not fun. I just had to kind of do it. I had no other way, because if I just kind of stuck with it, nothing would have changed, and I overcame it by just thinking about it a lot and actually saying what I had to say, even though I knew I didn't want to. I would have had to be on my phone constantly. Not doing that anymore was brilliant. I can actually do what I want now, which is great.
That's a very good question. There's so many challenges. Everyone has a different challenges in their life, but my challenges are unique. Like, I face different challenges at different moment of the life. My first challenges, I would say, when I was in class 10th, I was very paranoid about geometry. And I got 0 marks in my geometry. I would frankly say, okay, I got 0 marks, like I flunked. And then I thought, like, I need to do something about this. It's like, if you want to progress in your life, you definitely want to, like, capture your fear. Like, you have to walk the fear, capture it, conquer it. So I took it differently. Like, again, as I say, like, different people have a different perspective. Like, some people might just shunt away and just run away. Or some people must, they conquer their fear. So I took that approach. I said, okay, I'll face it. I will conquer the approach. And I put extra hours. Like, I like I slogged, I would say, like hours and hours. And in the final exams, like I got the highest marks in that subject. So I just overturned that. So that was my first challenge. The second challenge, I would say, like, I know it looks trivial. I practiced typewriter, the old traditional typewriter. People think, okay, it's trivial, what people is talking about. But I took the typing challenge for 1 year on the traditional typewriter, and at the end of that, like I could type like 40 words per minute. Again, it sounds very trivial, but again, as I said, like I enjoy taking challenges like at each smallest moment of my life and try to overcome. And again, like each problem is unique, and you should face it, conquer it, and challenge it. And that's how you can progress in your life, and you can overcome your fear, and you'll be a different person at the end of the day. And that's what I would think. And again, I would recommend to anyone like who is listening to my video, never ever run away from a problem. Again, problem is presenting you with an opportunity. So never run away from an opportunity. This is an opportunity. It's just a matter of like how you overcome that.
There are challenges in my profession in ministry. One of my biggest challenges was going to a church that wanted me to help them become what we call open and affirming, accepting and welcoming of LGBTQ folk. And it looked like an easy job because the president of the church is gay. This is up in Arlington, Virginia. But it turned out there were some older folk that just were not supporting that venture, but didn't say so when I was called. It was a difficult challenge to finally walk through that process. Although I wasn't there when they made the decision to become open affirming, I did have to resign because I knew they needed somebody else to take them the rest of the way of the journey. And it's what brought me here to Roanoke.
I'm still fighting it. Alcohol. Amen. I'm still fighting. That's a battle. That's a war right there. I ain't buying nobody, but I'm fighting it. I'm fighting that war. It's good times, bad times. I mean, it ain't got me, I got it. Times when I gotta go to work, I lay back. But on times like Friday and Saturday, it got me. But I refuse to let it beat me. Yeah, it ain't taking my money.
Being an extroverted person in an introverted profession, I'm a semi-retired CPA, and for probably the first 30 of my 40 years, I had a really hard time. Introverts have a real hard time with me a lot. And I've calmed down. So we kind of met in the middle. I've kind of calmed down. Folks have become more accepting of me as I've gotten older. But that first 10 years of my career was a tough time for me and a really hard challenge.
I'll get real personal. The biggest challenge that I've overcome is pornography. It was an addiction for a long time. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort to get over it. It was a major hindrance in my marriage and in relationships that were important to me. I would have done anything to fix it many, many times. It took a lot of hard work and a lot of prayer and a lot of faith, but it's been over a year since I've gone back, and it's been a much better lifestyle.
I guess growing up in a one-race sort of neighborhood and being able to be accepting and whatever of multiracial people. I guess a little bit nerve-wracking or anxiety-inducing at first. It would have been in college, but just worked my way through it eventually.